Hey everyone, it's been a long time since I've done a video. Thanks for checking in with me. For the longest time, I've had car combos, a Corvette and a Mustang. It started quite a few years ago with my 1970 Mustang, which I bought as a six-cylinder and a terrible girls paint job, and a little small air conditioner inside. Transformed that into a pretty significant drag car, all stock drag car, with a bored out 302 and a lot of upgrades on the intake. And then my '84 Corvette, I had those for a long time, and you know, old cars are what they are. They need a lot of work. So at one point, I upgraded my '84 Mustang to a C6 Corvette, which I loved, and that was a beautiful car, a lot of fun. And eventually, my '70 Mustang caught the eye of a collector in Nebraska, and we came to a deal, and he purchased that from me. It's down his collection down outside of Omaha. And then I came on to my '73 Mustang, which I spent a lot of time working on. And you've seen a lot of those videos. You can go out and find those if you want. It's dubbed Project Sports Roof or SR73 for being a '73 Mustang. A lot of work was done on that. But there comes a time with space and allotted time to work on these that you've got to make a choice. And so talking with my wife, who's been very understanding all these years with all my projects, and we agreed that I'm going to limit it to one project rather than a combo. So I'm going to keep my 2004 sports track, Ford pickup sports track, which by the way will be a classic before you know it. It's almost 20 years old now, and I like it. Fair enough. And you'll see some projects coming up on that. In the meantime, I'm searching for the car that caught my eye when I was really young. And I grew up in the '60s and the '70s, and the '60s, early '70s, mid '70s Corvettes always caught my eye, and I always wanted one. Never had one. I had my C4, my C6, and I've never gotten to have that ultimate car, even though my C6 was like, that was there with all the horsepower that I could want and stuff. And so we came to the decision that we were going to go ahead and look for one more car for me. And so I'm on my search for a C3. I'm going to chronicle my search. You'll get to see some of the cars that I looked at. I've got one coming up at the end of this video here, which you will be kind of amazed the guy was trying to sell. Now it's no fault of the seller. Whenever you see this, but I will critique the car a little bit, as I would whenever I was going to buy a car, and you get to see some of my comments. I'll either put them on the screen or I'll voice over. But this next car is pretty interesting. It is a C3, but it's, I don't want to say it's an abomination, but the kid bought it and thought he was going to work on it, but he didn't really understand what he was getting into, and you can tell by that as he goes through. I mean, his biggest thing is the seat belts, and it needs seat belts when, well, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm going to let you be surprised and see what the previous owner, according to him, did to this, what could be a very special a C3. But anyway, that video is coming in a minute, and then of course later on I'll be doing small projects on my 2004 Ford Explorer, just to well, it needs stuff done, so I'll chronicle those, and we'll just fill in the gaps here until I actually can come up with my C3. Got a couple more to look at. I'm not ready to disclose those yet, but we will. We'll get to see those all. So thanks, and enjoy this next piece of video, and I'll talk to you soon.
Let's see, it does need seat belts. as well. It does have, right here, a seatbelt goes in, but it doesn't have the seatbelt itself. But, you know, like I said, this opens perfectly fine. The AC doesn't work. Let's see what else. The gas gauge is so right here. Not sure if you can see it with the sunlight, but so the gas gauge doesn't read properly, so you don't really know if you're full or not, which is, you know, could be an issue. Otherwise, everything else in the vehicle runs fine. If you want to drive it for a cruise, you know, test drive it, it will run perfectly fine. You know, granted, it is pretty loud, so wouldn't suggest going through a drive-through with it or anything. Yeah, otherwise, car works perfectly fine. Not really any chips or anything throughout the car with the paint job. So these little tape marks, but they're fairly easy to take off. I took the majority of them off already. These ones are a little bit harder. Radio is very quiet, somewhat staticky. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a project car, especially project car, you know, this is a great project car. It's not too difficult, won't take long to work on, you know, if you do decide to work on it. You know, quicker than most project cars at least. But yeah, if you have any other questions, just let me know. And you know, I usually get off work at 5, so if you ever want to come take a look at it, test drive it.
At this point, I asked him about the top, and he said he'd send me a video about the top.
So it does start. It starts pretty well. There are at times where it will start for about 30 seconds and then shut off on its own. But once you have it going for about, you know, about a minute or so, the car should run fine. Taking this on the highway though, anything going past maybe 70, the body does shake a little bit. So just be careful, you know, if you do choose to get it. Let's see, what else? The door handles right here. For some reason, on this side of the door, you'd have to go from the inside to open it up, right here. The other door works perfectly fine. Let's see, right here in the back, you see this part right here, it's a little, you know, it's a little broken and chipped. It won't fall off though, it stays on perfectly fine when you drive it at night. Rear lights do work as well. The front lights right up here. So they do go down, but once they go down, you have to manually pick them back up. So I just leave them open for the time being at least. Let's see what else right here for the T-top. So currently I don't have a T-top in my house, it's in storage. But the previous owners tried to make their own T-top, I suppose. It was originally a T-top, but
I don't blame you. This kid for the condition of the car. Seems he inherited it that way. And you can tell by some of his verbiage and what he's looking at in the car, he's not really sure what to do, and not understanding that the structure, the entire structure of the Corvette's been compromised by cutting out the wall. coming off the roof. Needless to say, this is not one I'm going to choose, but thought it was interesting for you to take a look at what's out there. And I won't mention price, but it was not good, not a good price either. Okay, so now that was a Stingray, but not worth touching, I don't think, at this time. Next, I want to just give you a quick little clip of something a student gave to me for Teachers Appreciation Day, and I want to give a shout out to Ty and his mom for creating this for me.
Thought I'd show you this. I had a student. I'm an 8th grade social studies teacher, at least for the next week. After that, I'll be going to school full time. Hopefully teach college level when I'm done. His mom made this for me. From a Corvette. So they all know I like Corvettes. You can kind of tell here some of my collection, and some other cars too, and my Mustangs. But she made that for me. She has a device, like a CNC machine where she makes it. But I thought that was a great gift. Probably one of the best ones I've ever seen for Teachers Appreciation Day. So thank you, Ty, and your mom.